Hello, my name is Alex Isles and welcome to Ingram Valley in Northumberland National Park. In this episode we're going to be looking at Hillforts, and right here we are at Weather Hill Hillfort. Now I'm just coming up to the Hillfort itself, and what we have here is a ditch, then we've got the first set of walls and then the second set of walls that would form this Hillfort in Northumberland National Park, which in the past would have been in the territory probably of a tribe called the Vortodini. Now Hillforts themselves are a phenomenon we see across the whole of Britain during the Iron Age, and they probably start forming around about 800 BC, because the dates when they've done excavations here at Weather Hill suggest that there was a wooden palisade enclosure around this Hillfort from that date. So we know that there's a settlement here. Now, why this was, we're not entirely sure. These Hillforts may have evolved from the fact that temperatures were starting to warm up again after around about 1200 BC, when there had been a climate drop causing for the end of the Bronze Age, or the Bronze Age collapse as it's commonly called. So because of that, with an increase in temperatures, there was an increase in populations, and so people needed to protect the land which they lived on, because there would be rivalry and pressure from other tribes, other peoples, and everyone in the surrounding area who would probably look at your land and go, you know what, I reckon we've got enough guys to try and have a go at taking this. So then you start seeing the development of these Hillforts to secure land, to control it, and to be able to project your power onto other tribes and other peoples around the location. So from 800 BC you've got a wooden palisade structure here at Weather Hill in the Ingram Valley. But over time we see a continuation of deforestation, and as people are managing the woodlands, cutting down trees to build these Hillforts, over time, roughly about 300 BC, there is a change. And what we see is the Hillforts all start being built in stone. So for a long time people thought that the Hillfort phenomena started around about 300 BC. But instead this is an upgrade phase. This is when they're taking the wooden palisades and replacing them with stone walls, maybe because of the fact that there isn't enough woodlands, or there may be a more practical reason that it reduces time and labour. Instead of having to constantly replace the wooden walls and palisades, what you can do instead is build a stone wall, and then it's set in place, and it's there and it's strong. And these Hillforts then continued right the way through to the 1st century AD, and that's when you start seeing the Roman Iron Age beginning in this area. When the Roman Iron Age begins, we start seeing the fact that these Hillforts start expanding and they become settlements. And when they become settlements, we actually start seeing the houses being built over the walls that were previously there. That's not seen here at Weather Hill, but it's at other locations, and the Hillforts go out of use. Now my personal theory is that the Romans basically contacted the landed elite of these areas and basically said, look, you're allowed to live, and we want you to live in these areas. We want you to develop the landscape, we want you to farm it, and we want you to pay us taxes for protection in food, and you can be our allies and friends. But what they didn't want was fortified settlements. So they probably said, look, we do not want, walled settlements in locations. So they would probably have instead, right, we want these Hillforts to start being taken down. And so that's when we see the sort of the end of Hillforts, except for a few exceptions where we can see that those Hillforts continued, and those are probably where you have a very important strategic location, or the Romans maybe had given permission, or it's just in an area where the Romans can't project their power and have the walls dismantled, which they really would like. So these Hillforts, they really have a sort of a lifespan from around about 800 BC right the way through to probably about 80 to 90 AD, when we start seeing the Romans really campaigning into what we now would call modern day Scotland. And then from there the Hillforts are abandoned, and you start seeing instead villages and towns developing instead on the location where Hillforts were before. I really hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and you've seen basically how a hill fort was constructed and what was involved in a hill fort. If you have enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, share it with your friends, and if you would like to support the channel more, please do sign up to the Patreon, where you can actually have an influence on steering the way that the channel's content will go in the future. Thank you very much as always, and I look forward to seeing you in another episode soon.